Hello, everybody, and welcome back. I'm so excited to be back with our new segment called Let's Talk. And this is a segment where we come to you every week with a conversation, a candid conversation between me and a mastermind. Okay. And I am so happy to have my very first guest premiere. And of course, I would have it no other way, than to have my sister, my god sister, Arthur Bailey West. We
Hey,
are, listen, I'm so excited to talk to you in front of people. You know how we do. You know how we do. So we're gonna dive right in. Basically, what this segment is about is us just having candid conversation. We want to talk about current events. We bring in our levels of expertise to the platform, to the stage, giving you all our opinions, some facts, some resources, some links. So I feel like what better time than now than to start this conversation. Let's talk. Paula. I'm sorry, Bailey. Listen, you got to pray for me with that. Bailey West, Arthur Bailey West. First of all, before we get into our conversation, tell us what's new with you. What is going on with the Bailey West brand right now?
well, for those that don't know, my name is Bailey West. I am an author of contemporary romance, Black on Black love. I have been writing since 2016. I released my first book, and now I am about to release my first book on audio. So that's exciting for any author to have your book in different platforms. So I'm excited about it. Also working on my 11th project. So yeah, I'm out here just grinding and trying to make it happen.
As you should.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know, what does it mean to have it on audio? Because I have Audible, but everybody don't have, Audible or apps like that. What does it mean to go audio?
So audio will just broaden my reader base because some people really don't have the time or they can't make the time to sit down and read a 300-page novel because their life is just not set up that way. But if you're in your car or you cleaning the house and you could pop some earphones in and just listen to people read the story to you, then you can still get the story without sitting still. So that's the great part about it. There are still some people who are diehard, paper book readers. But
Mm-hmm.
because of the way our lives are set up now, we have to be able to be flexible with the way that we do things. So Audible gives you that ability to do that.
Nice. Okay, then another question, because I said I wasn't going to be the interviewer, but I have to get this stuff out and then we're going to talk for real.
Mhm.
So, who's going to be the voice of your characters? Are you going to be the reader? Like I finally finished Barack Obama book. Okay, it was good, but it was so long. But he's reading it. And
Yeah.
so then that's what kind of bring me into it. What about you? Who's
Well,
gonna
because my books are not about me, I'm not one of the characters, so I would never read the books.
Nice.
We have two voice actors that will read it, Ebony Flowers and
Mhm.
Benjamin Charles. I think Benjamin is a little newer to the game, but Ebony has been around and read some other books within the same genre that I write. So, yeah, I'm excited to hear their voices.
Oh, that's gonna be fun. Bringing
Yeah.
it to life. I definitely that's gonna work for me. So I can't wait either. Okay, let's talk. We said we were gonna talk current events, and there is nothing more current than the event that have unfolded this weekend with Portia and Simon. So, for those that don't know, find out we take a holistic approach and we cover four core values. And one of our values is social. It's important to have friends. It's important to not just what you know, but who you know. So, for you who think that we off topic, we not. That's what this show is about. We get to cover everything. So, we back. What do you think?
So let's talk about who Portia is first. So those that don't watch reality TV, Portia is one of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, and
Mhm.
Portia has been a cast member for a while now. When she first started, she was married to Cordell.
Yes.
Remember, and that was a whole mess.
It was.
They divorced, and now she's been through several different people. And more recently, she was engaged to her daughter's father.
Mm-hmm.
This season, they weren't together, and she had a whole bunch of shenanigans happen. But the season just wrapped on Sunday, and like Monday,
Okay,
evening, right? Portia put out this whole post about her dating a friend of the show. So the girl's name is Fallon, and they introduced Fallon on the show as Portia's friend. Portia's at her house with her husband. And so Fallon and her husband divorced last month. And now Portia and the guy are engaged. Like, what is happening?
Okay, so then it depends on the source, because some sources say they are divorcing.
Wow. See, I heard that the divorce was final last week, and Portia said that it was settled too. So I don't know.
Well, there we go.
Like that, but either way, it's still ridiculous. So if he's divorcing, how he already asking somebody to marry him?
That was supposed to be the whole thing too. And then she's saying they're not friends, but she was introduced on the show as her friend, and then they had a little. I watched, little blogs, and they were showing that she met Portia through Dennis.
Through Portia's fiance, right? Yeah, her daughter.
So how do you feel about Dennis and the new fiance posing? Okay, so I feel like this is where this conversation is really going, because this is my question. You've only known this man, you saying a month. How soon is too soon to be introducing him to your daughter's father, to your child? Y'all already engaged?
Yeah. See, I think that's the question, but I guess to play devil's advocate, some people just out here living their best life, I guess. I can say for me, right? Because I don't want to judge Portia, because I don't have a stone to throw, right?
Yeah, me either, and I love Portia, for the record.
Yeah, me too. I love Portia. I live in a glass house, so ain't no use me throwing stones. Yeah, but in my opinion, if it were me, right, I think that it's too early. And I think that rebound relationships never work. So if you're just coming out of a marriage, y'all was married in 2020 because we saw y'all on the show, y'all was still married. So if you just coming out of a relationship and this first person that you're in a relationship with, you're gonna marry them, that's rebound. That's not, in my opinion, that's not gonna work. Like, take your time and figure out what went wrong with the last covenant that you just broke. You know what I'm saying?
And so do you honestly feel like you can really know somebody enough to make that type of commitment in a month?
So do you ever really know somebody?
No, but a month.
So say, like, we personally know people who were together a couple of months and got married. We know people that was together for decades and got married. And in both cases, the relationship didn't work.
Yeah, that's true.
So what's the use of taking your time? Like, if you, I don't know. I mean, I hear what you're saying, and I do agree. But I'm just looking at it from another angle. Like, if you late 30s, early 40s, like, especially once you hit 40, like,
you know what you like.
Two parts in a bag of what people think or what they gonna do, because you're just ready to live your life. So maybe that's kind of where she's coming from. I don't know, but it's just confusing to us because it seems so fast. It's so fast.
Okay, so then though, do you think his money, like, so where do we go as women to where our decisions are based so much on if someone could provide our stability?
Probably about 95, 97, 99.9%.
But we want all of these, equal rights and all of this other stuff. But...
No, look, we can be whoever, as women, we can be whoever we want to be, because we are made the same in some instances, but in some instances we are not. So I could be the CEO of a company, but I still want a man that's gonna take care of me.
Me too. But how much does that play into us making decisions that's potentially not good ones just
all
because.
detrimental. Yeah, I mean, you got to think it through, but I mean, if you're chasing that bag, you're chasing that bag, and he's a bag. He's a
He
walk.
is a bag. He is a bag
Yeah,
because
all
they
day
said
long.
they stopped counting at the businesses he owned.
Oh yeah, he's successful. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So
So
I mean,
then maybe you know what you know, or you like what you like because he checked the boxes up front. Like, is that? But
look,
can you
he ain't got
trust
to, he ain't got
someone?
to, he ain't got to grow. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
we'd have been with guys we like. Well, he got potential. He not ready to hit his potential.
But
So,
not at this age. Listen, in your 40s, potential.
yeah, come with your
That should be in
potential.
your review mirror. We should be action, implementation. Let's go, let's go, let's go. We
Exactly.
should be
So
seeing several streams at this point. But so then though, but that's still, I wonder, can you trust someone that, what's the word? Is that impetuous to where, he can divorce you and be in love with somebody in a month?
yeah.
Would,
Can you trust him? I don't know. I mean, will he do the same thing to her that he did to the other lady, or was it Fallon's fault that they divorced? Like we don't know that. We don't know the detail. Maybe she cheated. Maybe she did something, and
yeah,
maybe he's just bending his heart through port. Like we don't know those backstory details.
yeah.
But if it's a surface thing where we know that it was just they were in a relationship, then they weren't. Then no, I don't think that I would be so willing to just quickly jump into a relationship with somebody. Probably, but at the same time, like we said, he is a whole walking bag. He
He
is the
is.
local. You know what I'm
And
saying?
that looks good to us because women, I mean, if we try, so we don't want to live by that double standard, but it is what it is.
It
Just
is what
like
it
a
is.
man look at us as for physical attributes. That's why women are going broke. Me probably in line next to get something done with this midsection, or women are going broke getting, enhancements, going through the mommy makeovers because they're afraid that if they not still keeping it together and looking good, then on to the next.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So then when does it become okay for them to judge us by that? But then we do look like, gold diggers or whatever if
I
we
don't
see
believe in
that
gold diggers.
the bag is secure.
I don't believe in gold diggers. I don't
Yeah.
believe in it. I believe that if you willing to share with me and willing to take care of me, then I ain't digging
A
for
happy
nothing.
recipient.
Exactly. I'm a happy leprechaun right at the end of the rainbow with my gold. I
Right.
ain't digging for nothing. Because I didn't have to, I mean, if you don't have to set yourself up or lower your standards, but he just there and he offering it and I can be okay and I got a little girl and I still gotta, please.
And let's be real, Portia getting her own bag. Let's start there.
Exactly.
So then it is
Exactly.
tough to date a regular guy
Right.
who you're not going just for personality at this point.
Nope.
Because anytime she enters into a relationship with someone who has less than her, she has to get lawyers involved.
Yep.
You're talking prenups, post-nups, however they want to do it. You're talking somebody who you work, listen, to blood, sweat, and tears.
Yep.
For them to come and reap the benefits if they not on your level. So
Yep.
I think there is a certain point where, listen, like you said, you know what you want. You like what you like.
You do.
And she found that out quick.
She did. And if she like it, I love it. I think that, like I said, for me, in my opinion, and in my life, it would be a little different, but I'm not her and I ain't been offered it. So all I can say is what I think I would do.
Okay. Look, we trying to speak with the girl code, but listen.
Like, girl, we didn't know you. I didn't know you like that for real.
I know, because they'll say it in a minute. We was just cool. I knew him first.
Right. I didn't really say nothing to you when I was at your house. That just let you see we was not really friends.
We weren't. All that food you gave me and that expensive wine I brought you, no.
Didn't mean a thing.
Not a thing. Girl, well, I guess we'll move on from that. It's just funny though. You live and you learn.
You do.
Sometimes when you younger, you just assume like, oh, I never do this, and how could she ever? And if that was my friend, but all of us, I feel like, have been in some type of not our finest moment,
Oh,
some
girl.
type of compromise and something where as bad or as hard as you want to be on somebody, you have to look back at, you know, and sometimes you just have to understand people's points of view,
You
people's point of reference.
You
Yeah.
do. You just got to kind of look at it from their standpoint. Again, like I have my own opinion based on
Mhm.
my foundational values and the things that I was brought up and taught. Of the way that I treat my friends or even my associates, I wouldn't kick it with your guy.
Yeah.
From what I know that I've experienced in my life,
Hmm.
but I can't speak for what that whole situation is. All we know is that they together now. She got the ring and he a whole bag. So, surface, go for it, girl. Why not? I mean, is it gonna last? We don't know. Probably, maybe not. You know what I'm saying? But live your life, make mistakes, go on. That's how we become who we are. Shoot.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll say this. I probably wouldn't do it to my friends, somebody I'm close to, but I've had moments that were not my finest hour where I can't say I haven't done it to associates.
Come on, somebody,
And
that's what I'm saying. Like,
and let's call it what it is, and have done it for less, and have gotten less
that's
out the
what I'm
deal.
saying. Yeah. We
So
don't know because we're in that situation, and even
yeah.
any situation that any of us have been in, can't nobody judge us for the decisions that we made. We just made those decisions, and now we are who we are because of those decisions that we made. So boom, we move on.
We move on. Speaking
Yeah.
of move on, perfect segue. Girl, let's
Yes.
move on. So I want to talk about uh church. So we back at church. My
Mm-hmm.
church is.
Mm-hmm.
But I know a lot of churches that aren't. But I found myself in a conversation with somebody today when I asked if he goes to church. I had a business meeting with a banker, and I asked if he went to church, and he said he goes virtually because he watches this pastor in Tulsa.
Mm-hmm.
I'm finding talking to people that fewer and fewer people are going back into the house.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think with that, a lot of people are choosing to have pastors wherever they want, whoever they want,
Mm-hmm.
because they're not going into the physical building. Like, what do you think? Can you see yourself going back into the house?
Well, honestly, I haven't been in the house in a long time. I have been a virtual member for years now, honestly. Even having access. So part of the problem, reason why I started actually going virtually is because living in New York, just the whole stress of trying to get up and get to church, in the mornings was just overwhelmed. Like it was just another whole day of work. And so I just got tired of it. And I was like, if I could get the same thing at home, for less stress and still have a huge bulk of my day to be able to just do what I want to do, then let's try that. But it felt weird at first because it's not how I was brought up and it's not what we were taught to believe, but now that everybody has kind of experienced virtual church, sitting at home in your robe, kicked up your house shoes, drinking coffee, listening to the pastor is not all bad,
And I listen. But what
Yes.
does it do? Like, because my thing is, I'm wondering when we talk about the Bible saying not to forsake the assembling of, ourselves, like with other believers and things like that, and faith come by hearing and hearing by the way we hear the word, but like overcoming by testimony and really being with other people. Sometimes I wonder, like sometimes I see how convenient it is to not go to the building, but then I wonder, what is it doing to us as a community?
Right. So the church has to have things in place where they encourage you to still you know, communicate and still assemble and still be around other people because we don't grow in isolation, we grow in community. We need that physical touch and we need to be around people. But I don't have to be around members of my church. That's not, I still, if I find my god sister and say, hey, the Lord, blah, 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 I'm giving you my testimony. I'm around other believers outside of the four walls. I think that what coronavirus really has shown a lot of people is that it's not about the four walls, but it's really about assembling ourselves with each other, period. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So even if I can't get to you and touch you, but if I come and I'm on a Zoom call and we praying together on a Zoom call or we hanging out, I think that's what we're moving towards, because for one, busy lifestyles, people can't always get out and do it, and the level of feeling guilt about it is starting to subside, because I know for me, when I was going to church every Sunday, into the building, and I didn't make a Sunday or I didn't make a Bible study, like, girl, we missed you. Where you at? Like, it was no
the pressure. Mm-hmm.
It was the pressure to be there and the pressure to perform.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I had to be on.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I can really get the word. I can enjoy it. I can rewatch it, rehear it, you know. And so that works for me. But I would not encourage everybody to do it, especially those people that really need to be around other people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you live by yourself, I wouldn't encourage you to not ever go back. You know, you don't have anybody else around you, I wouldn't encourage you not to go back. I would encourage you to go, because we do need those people. But until I find somebody that's close to me, that's as dynamic as my pastor and that really gives me the word, I'm not going to church just to say that I'm in there.
That you went. But yeah. So what about for a person like me? Because I'm a worker bee. Yeah. And I feel like that's hard too. Like, if I stay home, I'm already mad that I don't get to sing in the choir. I'm still a little, no, I'm not mad, but it's irkish that it's only the praise team now. And they have the nerve to be doing choir songs. Like, so you already know we want the choir, but we not able to do it. But I miss singing so bad, or I miss preaching. I'm not. I feel like I'm not asked to preach when I'm at home.
Well, but you can make it opportunities too, though, right? So, like, it's not just about that pulpit, and it's not about that praise team or that choir. And I think that's what we. Like, it's a global mindset that we really have to have. When we talk about kingdom, kingdom is not segmented into this little bitty assembly and this little bitty assembly, but when we kingdom minded, then we're globally minded. So that means that I can be anywhere. I can do this anytime. I can organize this myself, because that's the call that's on my life to do it. I don't have to wait for you to give me a platform. God has a platform already.
Yeah, that's true.
So if I want to preach, if I got a word, then I'm going to say, hey, come over to my house, or let's do a Zoom, or let's organize this and put this together. We'll get a hotel conference room or whatever and do it that way. I think that's how we reach more people, because the messages that you're giving at that church, those you're talking to the same people saying the same
people. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But if we can go out there and reach people that will never step foot in a church, that's our global kingdom mindset. And I think that's what Corona has done. You have to broaden your thought process. But I would say for you too, you social, you like being around people.
I do.
You gotta, you have to do those things. But if you're not, if they're not feeding what you need where you are, then build your own table.
Yeah.
God didn't just call you to that church. God called you unto himself, and it's kingdom.
Yeah, he called to the to the ecclesia.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. As they say, I'm with you when you're right. That's good. Because sometimes we do get caught up, and I think it is more in tradition. So one of the things I watched was, and I know this sounds crazy, but I love this show called Reign. And I was watching the story is about Mary, Queen of Scots. Well, Mary, Queen of Scots was King James, the one who wrote the Bible's mom. And he had her beheaded so that he could take the throne. And when I looked at people like him and John Knox, and who started the Protestant church movement, which is the church, the doctrine we adopt here in Western civilization, and it's so riddled with murder and deception and stuff like that. It does. I feel like there are aspects of the church that are for us and beneficial. But there are also other pieces, like you said, that go beyond the four walls. And we have to go beyond that organizational structure mindset. And we have to transition it from being uh religion to ministry.
It does. You're so
Yeah.
right. That's the whole point. Like church shouldn't have walls.
Yeah.
You know, church shouldn't have dress codes.
Yeah.
You know, church shouldn't have hierarchy. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
Yeah.
let's go out into the world and reach those people who don't have the right clothes, who only have bodycon dresses.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Who only like their cleavage to show, who
Mm-hmm.
got big booties and can't
Mm-hmm.
hide it. So the people at the church gonna talk about them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Let's go out and find those people who are
Mm-hmm.
so jaded by the crap that has gone on within
Mm-hmm.
those four walls and abiding by all of those man-made rules that ain't got no biblical foundation. Let's
Mm-hmm.
go and find those people because those are the people that are really going to be for God because they don't have all of the baggage that
Mm-hmm.
we have from being inundated with a bunch of stuff that really don't mean nothing.
Mm-mm. And was really just established to create their own hierarchy,
Correct.
their own agendas, their own way of control, their own way of, you know. So it really is, and then brought it here, and yeah, we've been molded in it, but we don't even know what our real culture and heritage
No, we don't.
was.
We don't.
So now we have the nerve to be not doing it well either, but stick it to these doctrines of things that man made and taught, and we are trying to push them off as relationship and then hold people to it.
Yep.
And it creates this idea that we're supposed to be almost of a divinity.
Yep.
And not humane. So then when you act human
Yep.
and not divine, then
Yep.
you are out of pocket or out of
Yep.
sync or out of character.
You
or,
cancel, sis. They will cancel you.
will.
You can't be human and be in ministry.
No,
They will
no.
cancel you.
They
You
will.
bet not say a curse word. You bet not cheat on your wife. You bet not steal some money from the IRS. You bet not do none of that stuff. Because as soon as they find out about it, you are canceled.
Yeah. Even though they all doing it. That's what's crazy.
Yeah.
I was telling somebody today that the craziest thing being a woman preacher is the pulpits I have mounted and the men who married pastors who have said inappropriate things in my ear as I was going up to preach is maddening. Or who have approached me after church, knowing I was married, knowing they're married, knowing, you know, didn't care. But
just
these are the same ones that want to inflict these rules. But wait, what you say?
Go ahead. I'll mess you up. Go ahead.
I'm gonna do it on a repeat. This recording. We need to go back. But it's just crazy how there is this standard of you have to be divine.
You do.
You have to be perfect. You have to be, or at least close to it. And they call it the strive for perfection. But the funny thing is, again, a lot of these rules, regulations, and some of the structure that was started in the original Protestant church, or the church that we are, what do you call it, fashioning ourselves after now, where these things was, again, just for rank, hierarchy, and to give them the pass to do what they wanted to do. Don't even apply to us now.
Girl, just to let a bunch of unlearned, uneducated people feel better than the other unlearned, uneducated people. You know what I'm saying? Like, even to this day, some of the things that are in our local churches are just there so that somebody feels better about themselves.
Yeah.
Ain't got nothing to do with Jesus.
No.
Nothing to do with God at all. Nothing to do with, you know, how we live our life. Has nothing to do with Christ and culture. Has nothing to do with the resurrection. It has nothing to do with anything. It's just you making yourself feel better about yourself. So you put this in place because, you know, people can never achieve it. You know, I can never be perfect. I'm never going to be perfect. So you're going to always have a reason to judge me because I'm going to always make mistakes. I'm never going to be perfect, you know, and that's the problem with the church. And so rounding back out to what we were talking about with internet church, I see why some people will find that pastor online that is just giving them the word. Like, you don't know them. How
Mm-hmm.
awesome is it not to know them? Because then you don't know
Mm-hmm.
their business,
Mm-hmm.
you don't
Yep.
know their past. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You can just love them. You
Yep.
know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You
Yep.
ain't
And they can love you because they don't have to know you. They don't know your
nope,
business, your past.
nope.
Yeah.
Nope, nope, nope.
Yeah.
I can honestly listen, learn, love God, pay my tithes and my offering, and then go and clean the kitchen. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just that thing. And so there's no pressure
Mm-hmm.
to perform because I don't have to be a part of the show.
Yeah. Wow. And
Yep.
that's something. So then it makes me wonder, what's the state of the church as we know it, moving forward, especially beyond this. What does the future look like when they say a great falling away? Because this is the thing too. One thing I wonder with church, just like with school, like, but when you at home at church, how much are we paying attention? Sometimes we paying attention, but I'm not gonna name any names. But I, on Mother's Day, I had a whole conversation with a mother who was supposed to be at church, and we talked a half hour, and I could hear her pastor in the background just the preaching hard, and
Hmm.
we held a whole conversation.
But how much attention would she have paid at church? Just because I'm sitting in the
Yeah,
audience don't mean that I'm paying attention.
yeah, but
Right?
sometimes it
Like,
seems like it make it better. You know how
it
you at
don't
school, like I
though.
say for online school, I need to be in the classroom. Don't
But
have
and
me
so then the
certain
answer to
learners.
your question is, what is the state of the church
Mm-hmm.
going forward? The state of the church is strong
Yeah,
because there are people like you
yeah,
who need to be in the building.
yeah. That's
You
true.
need the physical touch. You need that.
Yeah,
And so you're not the only one. There are millions like you. And when you talk about a great falling away, the word is talking about unbelief and
yeah.
going
Unbelief of the faith. Yeah,
people
no, you're
not
right.
falling away from the faith. If
Yeah.
anything, people have gotten stronger in their faith because if we didn't need God in 2020, I mean,
Yeah.
we ain't never needed them before we needed them in 2020.
Yeah.
Right?
But did we really turn to him? That's my question too. It's so much I looked at, and we were going to talk about that as well. And I didn't mean to interrupt you, so I do want you
That's
to get
okay.
back to your point. But
Go ahead.
I look at everybody who has gained. Some people gained the COVID 10. Some people got the COVID 30. Some people got the COVID 50. Some people look just miserable.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are really depressed. They can't stand it. So, is that what we did? Did we turn to him during
We did.
COVID?
We turned to him because we needed him for comfort. But what
Mm-hmm.
happened was our mobility went to zero because
Mm-hmm.
we were not going outside. And we found if you always around the refrigerator, then you're gonna eat what's in there. There wasn't nothing else to do. We couldn't do anything else. So I gained weight. Everybody I know gained weight, but I
Mm-hmm.
think that because we really were so unsure. And so also let me preface this by saying that certain parts of the country handle things differently.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So like where I am, we were at 8 o'clock, we had to be off the streets.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't be outside after
Mm-hmm.
8 o'clock. It was a
Mm-hmm.
curfew.
Mm-hmm.
So you find yourself you leaving out the house once a week, just going to forage for food, and you coming back, and you really don't have anything to do. There's nothing to do. But also the fear of the unknown was
Mm-hmm.
prevalent with a lot of people because we just didn't know what we were going to do from day to day. So you just do what you do in your house. You eat. But once we saw that the world was going to open back up, and
Mm-hmm.
once we saw that there was an opportunity for us to do better, then we started to do better. One of the things that I did do now, I wasn't exercising to save my life, but
Mm-hmm.
what I did start doing was taking all my vitamins. I was taking all my multivitamins, vitamin C, all the stuff that they said would help build my immune system. And I didn't suffer through one cold, one flu, one nothing the whole year. And usually all of us at least get one cold, but I didn't do any of that. So I think that we just kind of pick and chose, how to. We were in survival mode. We were like bears.
Mm-hmm.
We
I
literally
think so though, because the message
ran
was.
out.
I feel like this was handled so. It was so clumsy, and they wanted to call it mitigation, but I really feel like they didn't even mitigate well. I feel like the information was so loose. It was so all over the place. I feel like this is different, in my opinion, than anything. And we've had pandemics before. I was listening to Barack Obama book, and he started talking about SARS and the other illnesses that was going on then. And I was listening to his plan and his task force, and I was like, it sounds just like now. Only they didn't do it in time, this time. But he was in front of it the last time. I almost feel like the way it hit the world, I don't know if we would have been able to really avoid a major shutdown anyway. But I do feel like nobody had information, and nobody was really being honest about not having it.
Well, people had the information. They just not being honest about the information that they had.
Yeah.
Because I was watching a documentary about that cruise ship that went out in January.
Yeah, I saw that too.
You saw that?
Yeah.
And
how people just getting sick. And at first they wasn't really telling anybody.
Yeah. So the government knew about that alone January. We didn't hear about it for real until March. For real. Like when my husband and I went on our cruise in February, which was crazy because praise the Lord, we got back off the ship. But all they did was said, have you traveled to China in the last, like, do I look like I went to China? No, I haven't gone to China. And that was it. So we on a cruise ship, sharing spoons, eating with people, just all, and none of us got sick that we know of. We didn't. But the information, even with the cruise lines, was already out. They knew that the cruise ship was already stranded and people were sick and dying. But they didn't tell us. They didn't tell anybody. So the information was there. They just wasn't sharing it with us. And then the information that we got in bits and pieces and had to try to stitch it together. And it just didn't make sense. And all at the whole conversation about, do we think this real or do we think this fake? Do we think this manufactured or do we?
Because are they exaggerating it or not?
Right.
They see the fallout. And it's still going to be the same financial fallout that we said. But also one of the things that there was an expert when it first came out that said everyone knows any pandemic is 2 years, but the fact that they were trying to piece it to us in 6 weeks, 6 weeks, 6 weeks. No, just if you would have come out and told us from the beginning, which is what I said when it first came, I told my job, I was like, yeah, this is gonna be 2 years. They couldn't believe it when I said it. They were like, no. Well, listen, we beyond a year now, and we are still in it.
Yeah. So just imagine though, if they would have said, so we talked about the weight gain. Imagine if they would have said, hey, y'all finna be on quarantine for a year. And then the next year it's going to start opening, but it's going to be limited. Then we could have planned our lives. We could have said, well, we ain't finna just sit around and be fat. We finna go outside and walk, because at least we know within a year that we'll be better and this will be okay. But the problem was that we had no timeline. We had no idea when things were going to get better. All we saw was things progressively getting worse. So when you sit there like, is it my turn yet? Let me eat this cheesecake just in case my last one.
And people are dying around you. Like, this was a thing where you want to call it fake until, like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
So-and-so is dead.
Yes.
At 40.
Yes.
Like, wait a minute. But then the crazy thing is, so I was just in Cancun, and the one thing I love about Cancun is they're so clean. The hotels themselves, is staff everywhere. I love the fact that when they clean my room, it smells like bleach. It's the whole nine. But when I say we went down to the regular spot where the downtown area, it was packed as if no pandemic. And I felt away. I felt anxiety. I felt anxiety on the plane because I just knew that they limited seating on the planes. And going our first leg, it was a small plane and it was full. I was just telling my sister, like, all I smell is skin and hair. And I don't like it. I felt so paranoid, like I should have worn 2 masks. I should have, you just thinking like, and then, you have to have the free test well, not the free test, I mean said it. We had a free test. You have to have the COVID test to fly back. You know, it had to be a negative test within 72 hours. It's crazy because I felt like I was taking a test for like an STD.
Yeah.
Because you just
Well,
praying that, because if it's
yeah.
positive, I knew I'm stuck in Mexico for 10 days.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
the whole time you thinking about all your, everywhere you went, all your partners, like, okay, when I went here, okay, I had my mask on. Okay, when I saw those people, when I saw him cough, did I move back? Was I 6 feet when they were talking to me? Like, everything is running through your head because all you can think of is, I'm not getting stuck over here.
Right.
But I will say, I felt way more comfortable over there than
Mhm.
here. In the States, I still don't understand why bathrooms and people still not washing their hands, and why restaurants are still so nasty. Like, it's a pandemic, y'all. I thought that you all opening up meaning you were taking extra precaution, but the bathrooms are still filthy.
Mm.
It's still, there's nothing different. You all are still looking at us like we crazy, like you want us to wear a mask, but it looks like you've had the same mask and gloves on all day.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
then it's just like people say, well, why were you over there? But everything was clean over there. And
Mm-hmm.
they were on top of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Then I come here and it's just like, this is why. That's why we still sick.
Yeah.
Wash your hands. I was in
Yeah.
Effingham coming out the bathroom, and the girl just looked at me with a straight face and walked out the stall, out the door, like, and you're not even gonna pretend. You know how we do. We'll at least go to the sinking.
If somebody watching, right?
If
Yeah,
somebody
I
watching.
have experience. I saw a girl at the mall on Sunday on Mother's Day, and we were at one of the upscale malls. I mean, only like they only had like high end stores in this mall, and she had on carried a Gucci bag, had on some Louis Vuitton tennis shoes, and just clunked her little nasty hands right on out that bathroom. I was like, "You are disgusted. Like
You're
that's
the reason. You're
nasty."
the problem, not the solution. And
Yes.
y'all mad at the mask. You don't want to wear the mask, but you don't want to wash your hands.
Yeah, knowing your fingers smell like cooch,
No,
but you
knowing it smell like pressed down, shaking together, and running over.
what is that? Yes, that's
Smell
you
like
not
me
washing
being
your
given
hands.
into your bosom. But yeah, but okay, another thing I run it into though, speaking of the pandemic, is because we're a financial show. Let's talk about this money. Is how many people not only uh were devastated because they were living paycheck to paycheck when their jobs stopped, but the amount of people now that they're saying that's not working, people in like the hotel industry, restaurant business, retail, they feel like they're making more on unemployment, so they're not working. Are they thinking about the big picture? Don't they realize it will eventually run out?
Yeah, I think they must be waiting on it to run out. You know how you get on the highway and you have those people that merge into the lanes immediately, and then you have some of those other people that just ride that lane until it run out. I can't stand when people just driving that lane till it run out.
Me either.
But that's me. I've been taught to merge. I've
Yeah,
been
me
taught
too.
to
Me
pivot
too.
and
Yeah.
immediately get in onto the highway and pick up speed
Yeah.
to with the rest
Yeah.
of the cars. But there are some people who were never taught that, and they just ride that lane until that lane run out, and then they fight their way over, into life again.
And
And I
they
think
fight
that's
their way over. Then it becomes
yeah,
somebody else's fault and responsibility
right. Right.
when we still struggling, we still this, but what? And I get it. I get it. When they're throwing you, what is it? They say 17,000 uh people are getting, you can get that. I think that's the minimum per year
Mm.
if you do full unemployment. And then I know just doing taxes that the government is forgiving 10,200 of that. 10,200 is not taxable. So
Mm.
then you're only taxed on the
Seven.
increase on the 7.
Oh
And
wow.
if you let them take taxes out, listen, you can have a nice little payday. Even the following years, it could give you some income. And for those who don't have listen, free tip, but for those who have children and haven't been working, yeah, it is a way to collect your earned income credit.
Mhm.
But that's, I would feel like, is, desperate times calling for desperate measures.
Yeah.
What's
I
the
think that,
mentality?
but it just goes back to how you look at life. Like what are what because some people just don't have a goal. Some people they don't plan for the future. And we know lots of people like that that's just living from day to day. They're not thinking about how it's going to impact them in the future. And I think that that's what this is. That I didn't know that because I've never received unemployment
Me
because
neither.
but I can see how somebody on it say, well, I'm just gonna ride this till the wheels fall off, because you just have people that do that. I don't know. I don't want to be in a position where now it's gone and I don't know what I'm gonna do with myself. Like, I'd rather just go on and merge onto the highway.
Yeah, just start. Yeah, just go
Yeah.
ahead and get the job. I mean, I know that it's there, and it's, everybody thinks what they would assume is free money is where it is, and it's fun, but it's not free money, and it's
Mhm.
really not going to be free money when everybody at the same time is trying to merge onto the highway. It's going to
Mhm.
cause a traffic jam.
Yeah, that
It's just going
lane
to jam it up.
eventually you be on the shoulder trying to get over. Just merge when you see that the lane is available. Don't ride that all the way to the end. That's not even what it's built for. And that's the same thing with unemployment. It's not built for that. It's built for you to give you enough buffer time to be able to merge and then to go with the flow of the traffic. And so but people just are not, but Melvin, people are not taught financial literacy. People are not taught how
Mhm.
to prepare for the future. That's why FINOP is such a great thing, because more often
Come on,
than
plug.
not, yeah, you see that.
We need to get this in a clip. We
But
got.
more often than not, people don't know. So we can say, "Girl, you don't realize," but because we have a level of financial literacy, then we can see the bigger picture. But a lot of people just can't. A lot of people were raised with parents who only earn minimum wage, and then they earn minimum wage. So then they see an opportunity to do something different. Can their parents tell them that is wrong? No, because they don't know.
They don't.
You know what I'm saying? So it's education. We have to be able to reach out outside of them four walls, going back to the other conversation, and reach those people who really need the information
Yeah.
to help them, prepare for a better life. That's
And I think,
really the end goal.
that is the goal of FINOP, to have you look at yourself differently. One of the problems I think our community have is looking at themselves as being one that can prepare for their future, being one that can afford to. We've been taught so much that is unattainable.
Yep.
That, getting involved in investments and other ways of compounding your money, you have to be in a certain tax bracket for that. You have to
Right.
make a certain amount for that.
Right.
When what we want to do is we help you eliminate those things that you already doing, the money you already using, and just put it somewhere else.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing in our culture is us being known for having that savings and nest egg. We tend to live, and I don't want to what do you call it, what they call it, not overreaching, but overgeneralizing,
Right.
where I'm making it to say like, oh, everybody, black or brown, they
Mm-mm.
don't budget. It's not that. But I do feel like as a society, we are taught more how to spend. We want to get jobs and work so that we can buy this and buy that and buy that. Nobody is saying, I want another job so that I can save for this and save for that. And I want another job so that when I'm in my 60s or 70s, I'm not still working. And we keep saying we know Social Security won't be there, but it's almost like we don't believe it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, especially with these initiatives, these $1 trillion things, they are going to try to attempt to knock off some of that deficit on tax hikes, and that's going to be across the board. So now when you're talking about your 401k, when it's time to pull that out, what do you think the tax rate is going to be?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think the tax rate is going to be on some of these dividends, these small dividends we are thinking that we're going to live off of? We have to find ways to really compound our money to the extent where we are making money in our sleep. It
Yeah.
is saving money in our sleep. If I have money somewhere, it has to be in an interest bearing something.
Mm-hmm.
Something, but I feel like we don't think like that. We just want to buy the next pair of, the new Jordans or a Montclair shirt, or we want to get, like Alice and Olivia. We want to grab a little, we want to go to Saks and buy some Happy, run a, wherever, Neiman, or buy a new bag, which I love all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I want the money, that's earmarked. So we're not saying not to pay yourself or treat yourself or not to have nice things, but there has to be, levels, so that when we in this position, we don't get caught with our pants down again. Because that's what happened. We panicked because we saw our 401ks plummet.
Mm-hmm.
That first month, people didn't know what to do.
Right.
But when that's your only investment, when you don't have property, when you don't have rental things, when you don't have any other side business or side hustle, and one thing attack your one source of income, it's a problem.
It is. It is. That's why the financial literacy is so important, and learning yourself, finding out about things to bolster your financial literacy as an individual is so important, because you don't want to get caught out there not being able to merge. You know what I'm saying? Like driving the shoulder. We don't want to be on the shoulder of life. I just that analogy is wonderful. Like we could really use that in a lot of things.
Listen, you better pin that. Okay, that is yours. That's not mine. That's Nietzsche's.
Right. But it's true. We don't want to be there, but because we come from it, it almost seems like it's normal. I done heard people say, like, I'm not doing that because I ain't leaving my daddy ain't leaving no money for me. I ain't leaving no money for nobody. But why do we have to keep doing the same thing?
Yeah.
Like we got to a point where we do better, we think better, but it all comes from knowledge. It all comes from exposure. And the reason why we like Gucci, Louis Vuitton, Alice and Olivia, Bottega, all of those things, Chanel, I can name them all. I think
Valentino, yes, as we should.
Because we've been exposed. That's what we expose ourselves to. That's what we're feeding ourselves.
Yeah, because that's what the rappers are wearing, and that's what the
and they're not rapping about saving money and investments, and because if we could rap along with that and then follow that, we would.
Yeah,
but it's what we're feeding ourselves. So at some point when we are ready to grow, then we have to start tailoring like our timelines on our social media to feed ourselves those things that are really going to help us grow, and not just expose us to stuff that really don't mean nothing. So I think that's how we have to approach it.
I love it. We majoring in minors, aren't we?
We do. And it's okay to have nice things. I love name brand. I love Gucci bags. Come on, somebody. I love Gucci.
Yeah, and you're the one who taught me. We're at the age where we should be carrying them.
Yeah.
I worked hard in my 20s and 30s. In my 40s, I should have enough to where I can go out and get the things I like.
Yes. Yeah. And not for special occasion stuff, just every day. Yeah. It shouldn't be, I'm just going to put this on the table and we only going to eat at this with special occasion. No, use your China every day. You know what I'm saying? Like live your life, because you just don't know. Yeah. But you work so that you can have those things. And then you learn financial literacy so that you're not taking your mortgage payment to get it. You're not putting it onto a credit card with a 29.6% interest rate.
Yeah. Yeah. Or you looking fire, but your credit card debt is yanking.
Come on.
Your bad power is just,
Yeah. But that's not to condemn those that are there now.
Yeah, no.
Because you can do better. We can learn. Because if we don't learn, then how do we, I apply for credit cards, for store cards. And I'm like, because I want to shop here. But then you look at the interest. One day I finally learned to just look at the interest, the daily interest rate.
Yeah.
Like that's ridiculous how much I'm paying for these $20 shoes. You know what I'm saying, on this credit card. So it's just things when we start to, educate ourselves, and then
Mhm.
find programs like yours to help ourselves be better, then we just got to be better.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll help you create that process. One thing about interest rates, you said that, and before I guess we go, because this, there's never enough time. But the one thing is, though, when we look at that, if you pay it off every month, and a lot of people don't know that the interest accrues on the balance. If you don't have a balance, then you avoid the interest.
Right.
But we like to live above our means, not just, us, I'm talking about society,
Yeah.
people. And it's just because of what we see, keeping up with the Joneses. We tend to live above our means. So we extend our credit and extend ourselves. But if you could just pay your debt off every month, then you wouldn't have to worry about the
Right. Or with
interest
your
rate.
credit cards, at least keeping it in that sweet, like 10% of the balance spot or 20%
Yeah.
of the balance spot, right? Then you'll be
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, but
Because you still want revolving credit too. You
right.
want you want your credit to be utilized.
Yeah.
But you just want to check the utilization. You could check that on different credit sites, Credit Karma, Credit Sesame. They'll let you check your credit utilization grade to see how much of your credit you're actually using, and then they'll give you tips on how to reduce it.
Yeah.
And it's just that simple. Sometimes it's just as simple as knowing when to pay your bill.
Yes,
If you pay it, and especially some credit card companies, they don't post your payment for another week or two. And in that time, then the credit bureau comes through and check your credit limit. I mean, your credit score, basically. But if you can make sure that your credit utilization is at a certain spot, like 30% or less, at the first of the month, on the 4th, or check when the cycle is when they check your credit, then you can tear your credit up on the 5th.
Right,
Just
exactly.
make sure on the 4th.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's looking good. Then they check your score. You tear it up on the 5th and make sure by the 4th of the next month you got it all cleaned up and looking good again.
Yep.
It's and that way your credit scores stay high. Pay your bills.
Yep.
Pay your bills. So it's always a pleasure, my sister, talking to you. Thank you for just talking. Thank you for being my first guest. Y'all, every week we here with an expert like my god sister. Let's talk. And we just talking about talking.
Yep.
Life stuff. We educating y'all. This is free. Subscribe, hit the like button, hit the bell, so you'll know every time I'm on here acting up. But until then, thank you again to my guest, Arthur Bailey West. And look, tell us right quick, where can we find you if we want to find you, look at you, see your stuff?
You can find me across all social media sites at either Bailey West or Arthur Bailey West. And then my website is bailey-west.com. So you can find me all over. Just look for Bailey West. I'll be there.
She out here and always looking good. Don't you, Saints? Don't nobody do it better. Don't nobody do it better. I love you, darling. And we will talk soon. Thank you again for being my premier guest.
Absolutely.
Later.